So I want to begin with a quote from a poem, which specifically, if read more in depth, I think provides us with a structure of exploration. Okay. So the poem, it's a piece of a poem from Kabir, Kabir, great poet and mystic. And the part of the poem says the following: be quiet in your mind, quiet in your senses, and also quiet in your body. Then when all these are quiet, don't do anything. In that state, truth will reveal itself to you. So the poem begins with being quiet in your mind. So we will be exploring that, how we quiet the thoughts, how we quiet the mind. The second piece is quieting the senses. So we spoke of that a bit last week. Quieting the eyes, the ears, the senses, taste, smell. Meaning it's almost as if you could turn all the windows, if you could close all the windows and go inward, right? So we're going to be exploring that. And then when all of these are quiet, meaning when there is stillness in the body, in the senses, in the mind, then we are able to enter the space of truth. And I believe that by senses, he's also speaking of sensations and feelings. So when all of these are quiet and still, we can find a space of truth. And so I believe that also the truth that he is speaking of is the true self, the inner core, the one that observes, the watcher. The seer, as we've been speaking of in the last couple of weeks. And so we're going to explore the depth of this poem today in our work. One way to begin to cultivate a sense of quiet and stillness is to explore that in your daily life, to bring that into your daily life. At any point throughout your days, you can drop in and stabilize. So meaning I can drop inward, I can bring my attention into the heart and find stableness, find my sense of steadiness, find my sense of inner peace. One way of doing that is just throughout the day, just stop. Stop whatever you're doing. Stop and find stillness in the body and breathe. So there are apps nowadays that can ring a little bell. I know that there are some that help you, like let's say if you don't drink enough water, the little bell will ring ever so often to remind you to drink water or to remind you to breathe. So you're welcome to Google that. Or you could train yourself either morning, middle of the day, and evening to find a moment, any time in between that, where you just stop and breathe. Kind of like with eating, you know how for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part, most people tend to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you kind of just get into this rhythm of when that is. Well, same thing, getting a rhythm of let me stop and breathe. Literally physically stop whatever I'm doing, closing the eyes preferably or bringing the eyes down for the confirmation of using the senses to quiet down as well. So if the senses are engaged, we're thinking, right? So if, for example, I'm walking down a garden and I'm looking at all the beautiful flowers and the colors and I'm smelling the flowers, my senses are engaged. Can I find the seer and the space of presence when I'm encountering that? Yes, it just requires a little bit of training to do that, where you can be in the presence of something beautiful or something exciting without kind of losing yourself in it or kind of staying still in that space of inner stability and presence with it. but not fully kind of dived into it. I hope I'm explaining myself with that. And so we'll do some practices to further explore that. The other piece that I kind of wanted to mention today before we go into meditation is I wanted to give you some titnips, is that how you say titnips, to practice throughout this week, to bring in mindfulness into your daily life. To me, one of my goals is not just to meditate in my chair, in my seat, my meditation area, but also to bring in a sense of presence and mindfulness throughout my life and everything I do. And so these are different techniques that can help with that. So one way of doing that would be to ground and soften. So at any point throughout the day to notice, am I more in my mind? Am I more in my emotions? And to find what the grounding is. So one way of finding the ground is literally finding the ground. So noticing yourself walking or noticing yourself sitting and bringing the whole awareness to where your body is at. Very similar to dropping in and stabilizing, except that this time it's more on the physicality, just aware of the body and that sense of grounding, the sense of feeling the feet on the ground, the sense of, even as you're sitting now or laying, having a sense of weight, having a sense of the ground, almost as if you're a plant or a flower, right, onto the ground. And with that same sense, how can I soften? So how can I relax into this? And one way to notice that is just briefly scanning the body. Where am I holding? Where am I tight? So bringing a sense of softness to that, softening, right? So that would be one way of doing that. The other one, which I find is just extremely helpful, is notice how many times you're holding your breath, or how many times you're not even aware of your breathing. It's very easy to get lost in thought. And so to come out of thought. And one way that helps me, it's a beautiful quote by Roshi Joan Halifax. And in her quote, she says, in life, there has to be exhales and pauses. I love that. In life, there have to be exhales and pauses. So how often do I exhale and let go? How often do I pause and allow? How much of my life am I going at a speed beyond the now? We're often so busy looking for what we want that we forget what we have, that we forget where we are at. And so a simple cultivation of gratitude and presence is to bring awareness to the exhale and the pauses. And I would love for that to be the homework for this week, for you to encounter more moments of where can I let go? Where can I release? Where can I surrender to what is? And bringing attention to the pauses. Why do I need to speak so fast? Like this morning writing my notes for today's class, I had so many ideas, and catching myself in that like hamster wheel, trying to do or to make it be a certain way. If I can just let go, and allow what life is wanting to speak of today. The universe is always speaking through you. It's nothing mystical, nothing special. It just is. The universe is always aware of you and um, speaking through you. The mere fact, I always think of this, which is very interesting, of the inhale. How much you're just breathing in the air and exhaling out the air. And something so intimate is always happening. Something so profound, and it seems so simple sometimes, but it really, life is flowing through you. And there's absolutely nothing you have to do for it. It's right here. There's an effortlessness to breath, an effortlessness to allowing what is here to show up, if we allow it. So this week, the invitation is to find a sense of stability and tenderness, to practice a sense of what I call consistent, stable tenderness towards yourself and towards others. How can I soften in this moment? That's one of my favorite personal mantras. Not so personal because I always share with you guys what the different experiments I do, right? How can I soften in this moment? How can I exhale and pause and find myself again and renew myself again, and in that renewing, encounter this moment and the people in a different way. So how can I soften? How can I invite tenderness? A sense of gentleness in what I do. That's something that I'm personally working on. And this week, I've been exploring baking. And in my explorations of baking, I cut myself. And when I cut myself, it happened so quick. It wasn't even like a mistake. And but when it happened afterwards, I noticed how tense I had been with what I was doing. And so I thought, what if I had softened? What if I had been much more present, not so in a hurry to complete the bread that I was doing, but more slowed down, more taking my time, more being with the step where I'm at. And so I thought of speaking about that. So with baking, for example, there are steps, right? There's instructions. And so if I can stay at the level of that particular instruction, if I can stay at the counting of the cups of flour, if I could stay at the moment when I'm cutting the bread, just a moment that the knife comes in, just the if I can stay with what is happening instead of thinking what the next moment is. Like, for example, I can't wait to eat that bread and put butter on it, right? If I can stay with where I'm at. And so I thought, what really causes this sense of movement into the next moment? What causes this like rhythm that takes us away from the now? It's almost like an energy of desire. It's almost like an energy of like a force that comes in through you, and it's like, okay, next, okay, now, okay, move on to the next thing. If when you catch it, which is what I did, but once I had cut myself, I think that exhales and pauses help and are helpful then to notice, oh, okay, I'm going in that speed again. Let me exhale. Let me pause. One exploration that I like to give you is when you catch yourself, stop. I mean, it's something so simple, but it will if we incorporate what we're learning in moments when we catch ourselves doing the old patterns of behavior, then we can shift, right? So how can I soften in this moment? And I'm going to ask you guys that same thing now. How can I soften in this moment? And what is the space of groundedness in me in this moment? The place of stability. Now, with that said, there are moments in our lives when inner stability is just not possible, or a sense of groundedness might not be possible. So in that moment, we can practice receiving a sense of groundingness and stability from the outer world. So it can be a sound around you that brings your awareness back into the now, such as birds singing. It can be the air around you and the way it touches your skin. It can be the feeling of the clothing. It can be the feeling of the chair. So if the sense of centering, it's not found at the heart or at the breath, then noticing what is around me. What am I holding on to? I often think of it like if I'm floating in space, what is holding me? The space. So there is always space around us holding us, right? And then how can I soften into that? Almost as if when I was little, I used to play this game of, I don't know if you guys ever played it, of like drop onto someone, right? So somebody would hold you and then you just kind of drop onto them. And that same kind of feeling, well, if I fall, am I going to be caught? You know, can I feel as if the wind, as if the air around me is holding me? So we will explore some of this today, that sense of stability and grounding and softening and stillness. And stillness. And the last piece that I'd like to mention before we start our meditation is this. Let go of judgment. Allow whatever occurs during this meditation or any meditation to be what it is. If thoughts arise, don't fight the thoughts, let them be. Find stillness anyways. If the sounds are going on around you, find stillness anyways. How can I accept life as it is right now in this moment? That's what will bring me peace. Not making the moment perfect or allowing the meditation to be perfect, but how can I make peace with what is showing up for me right now? Peace is always accessible, always, no matter what the circumstance. It's here already. Just like silence. If you turn off the volume of everything else, silence is always here, always present. And the other important piece of that practice is that you recognize your freedom that way, that I am free to choose how I feel. Good. So we will begin. The last thing before we do that, please do find a comfortable position. There have been a couple of emails that some of you have sent me. I know Amanda did. I will be responding to them before the end of this evening, so please be aware of that. And then if you have any other questions, any of you, you're more than welcome to email me, and I will contact you. I will answer them later today as well. So in my email, just in case, is info@anamariapineda.com. Okay, so we'll begin our meditation now. Just very simple meditation instructions. Find a comfortable position and remain there. So in the practice of stillness and teaching stillness, don't move. Okay, so one of the meditation timers that I use, I always leave about 15 seconds, 10 seconds actually, before the timer begins, so that I can kind of move or put my socks on because I get cold very easily. So that you find comfort first. Yeah. So, and then don't move, which is very key. A teacher, a meditation teacher of mine told me this a long time ago, and it really helped. Yeah. So with that said, let's find a comfortable position. And begin to bring your awareness inward, either by closing the eyes or softening the gaze. Becoming aware of what is here right now. Noticing your breath. Noticing the exhales. The pauses between the breaths. And perhaps asking, how can I soften in this moment? Dropping the awareness inward into the depth, into the place of observing, the place of calm. And finding a state of inner stability and calm. And having a sense of defeat. And the way the body sits or lays in this moment. Allowing the breath to find comfort and calm. As you exhale and release the week, the day, anything you've been holding on to. Allowing the breath to support you and the body to support you. Sensing the legs and the feet relaxed. The knees and thighs. The hips and lower back relaxed, softening. Allowing yourself to let go and release. Breathing into the lower belly. Finding a space of comfort and stability inward. Breathing into the belly. grounding. Sensing the earth supporting you, the space supporting you. Allowing the belly to relax and let go. Allowing the chest to soften. Sensing the shoulders and the neck relaxed. Relaxing the left shoulder and the left arm, hands and fingers. And relaxing the right shoulder, the right arms, hands and fingers. Allowing the body to be soft and steady. Allowing a deep sense of groundedness and stability. Sensing the body still. Relaxing the jaw and the tongue. And the cheeks and nose. Relaxing the eyes and the eyelids. And the forehead. Relaxing the temples and the ears. Relaxing the crown of the head and the back of the head and neck. Relaxing the whole back of the body and the front of the body. Relaxing the sides of the body and sensing yourself grounded and stable. Observing the rise and fall of the breath. And the spaces between the breaths. Noticing what appears and disappears. The thoughts, the sounds, the breath. And the quiet that holds all of it. Dropping in even more deeply and finding a deep sense of stability and quiet. And begin to notice yourself sitting or standing in front of a beautiful body of water, perhaps a lake or the ocean. And notice the stillness of the water. The gentle colors on the surface of the water. And allowing yourself to become as still as this water unmoved, deeply calm, observing the calm of the sky and the expansiveness of the sky, the vast space all around you, and surrendering into the vast space as if the very space could hold you, could ground you, surrendering and allowing the exhales and pauses to ground you as you surrender more deeply into the silence now. Noticing the spaces between thoughts and the spaces between the inhales and exhales, and surrendering more deeply into that space, into the silence and the stillness that is here. Resting in the silence and the stillness. And in this space of stillness, feeling the presence of the great divine, the presence of grace, of God, sensing in the quiet and stillness what is here now. And dropping in more deeply into the silence and the stillness. Surrendering. And beginning to sense the space around you. The way the body is held as it sits or lays. The way the breath is in the body in this moment. Observing and allowing what is here. And beginning to sense yourself gently returning. Sensing the energy in the body and the breath and the air around you. Beginning to allow the awareness to come back fully into this present moment. As you begin to gently open the eyes or allowing the gaze to be focused in the now. Returning. Remaining in that deep state of calm and peace, full presence. Allowing yourself to go about your day or go into your sleep with peace and calm. Beginning to fully come back now into the now. And go ahead and write down your experience if you like. And if you'd like to share, you're more than welcome to do so. Or if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. I do ask that you raise your hand and if possible, yes, just raise the hand so I can see who is ready when you are. Hi, Ali. Go ahead.
Good morning,
Good
everybody.
morning.
I feel so peaceful. Just pop the message, listen the silence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the place that I felt and I was one of my favorite, and is in Bimini with the
Wow.
turkey water.
Oh,
And
yes.
and suddenly just appeared sunrise. And the message is like a new beginning. And also I got the we are the co-creators.
Wow, beautiful. Yes, we are.
I like to share.
Thank you so much for sharing. A new beginning. I love, thank you for sharing that. I've always loved the imagery of the sunrise and how we truly get a new beginning every day. It's not new agey talk or inspirational talk. It's the truth. Literally, we get a brand new day, a brand new opportunity to shift things around. And this sense of being a co-creator, it's we indeed create with life. We create with life, with our thoughts, with our intentions, with our actions, with our words. We do. Thank you. Katrina?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Mine was a very interesting experience.
Yes.
I found myself in front of the ocean, and I saw either an angel or Jesus was coming towards me, and he was walking on the water, and he extended his hand for me to walk with him, and I said, "Well, this is water. I don't know if I could do it." And when I stepped on the water, it turned into glass.
Wow.
So we walked and walked all the way on the glass water, and all of a sudden there was this white round light. So we went into the light. Well, I was inside the light, and the color wasn't white. It was sort of iridescent, maybe. I don't know, but it was like amazing. There was no talk about anything. My entire meditation was silent, but I was inside the light literally, and I was like, okay. It was beautiful. It was serene, iridescent, not very, very bright. Um, and then I saw a lot of angels surrounding this light. I saw a circle of angels around this light. And when I came out, wow, I was like, I don't know, I felt like calm, beautiful, whole. I don't know, I just felt different when I came out. And then you just took us out. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I didn't want to bring you guys back, but
Yes. Yeah, it was beautiful there. It really was.
you know, thank you for sharing. When you mentioned your beautiful experience, and thank you for sharing that. Um, I thought of the quote, "Be still and know I'm God."
Mm.
Be still and know I'm God. Um, I actually think I had another quote about that. Yeah, the poem that we had said originally was really speaking also about stillness, but be still and know I'm God, and to explore what that means to you, I would look into that, Katrina.
Okay.
From a more metaphysical sense, because besides my work with mindfulness, I do work with the spiritual world. And that light that you mentioned, I've often seen in meditations as well, and it's what I consider to be the light of grace, the light of pure, absolute truth, love, and peace.
Mm-hmm.
And that light is accessible and available to us at any time. Um, I often play with the idea of it being the light that people encounter when they have afterlife experiences, or the light that maybe children see the moment that they are born. But it is a profound iridescent light, just as you mentioned, Katrina. And it is a great presence of peace and calm. And so one of the meditations in the next upcoming weeks, I'll make sure to do on that light, so you can explore it. But one of the opportunities I like to mention here is for you to explore your own presence of grace and how grace appears for you. For me, it's often as light or as a presence of great love and peace and kindness, and it is a place of inspiration to be a better human being, to be a better human being towards myself and to others. So thank you for sharing, Katrina.
Thank
Beautiful
you.
experience. And Ali, thank you. Tere, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I did. Hi, Anna
Hi, good
Maria.
morning.
Good morning. When the meditation started, I started hearing like the sound of a leaf blower in the background.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking, oh, maybe, this is me trying to focus on my inner silence, don't pay attention to the distraction. And I had a really hard time coming into the silence. I acknowledged there was a deep part of me that was at peace, but I also acknowledged that my mind was paying too much attention to the distraction, and then my emotions got involved and I started getting frustrated. Then towards the middle of a meditation, more towards going towards the end, I'm like, I have to stop resisting and just let go. So I took off my earphones and I took off the volume so I wouldn't hear that leaf blower on and off, on and off. And then when I finally found I was coming into peace, you were bringing us back. So I couldn't really find that inner peace during the meditation. And I don't know, I feel like it was a really representative of things going on in life, how I let the emotions and the thinking interfere with the peace that I knew was there. And even now, as we've ended the meditation, the frustration, the annoyance, the anger of the sound coming in and out, that emotion is still lingering in my chest, and I still feel frustrated even though it's over.
Thank you for sharing this experience. And so what I'd like you to do, if at all possible, is feel what you feel and use the exhales and pauses to release it. So number one, remember we spoke about frustration last week? I don't think you were here last week, but
No, but I heard it online.
Okay, good. Thank you. Good. Somebody's listening. That's good to know. So to notice what the feeling is and to go deeper into the body and observe it and allow it to be and notice the sensation of the frustration. Notice the anger as it arises and without judgment, begin to exhale it and let it go. Now, something to notice is this. Whatever emotion arises, whatever imbalance is present within us, or what we consider to be an imbalance or an imperfect state, has a message for us, is there for a reason. So in this case, the sound, right? So I would observe, what was it about the sound that caused me to not find my center? And you said the word distraction. And it is often distractions in life that keep us from finding peace, right? But is it really the power of the distractions, or is it the power that we give to the distraction? What do I mean by power? I mean energy that you put on it, right? So you notice the sound and the very loud sound and how much your attention goes back to it. So where attention goes, energy goes. If I don't want this sound, this situation, this person, this distraction, whatever that might be, to have power over me, draw your energy back, draw your attention back, bring the attention inward. At any point, you have a choice. This is key. The choice is key to finding freedom from anything. It's notice the sound and come back, keep coming back to the quiet, keep coming back to the place of stillness. And if stillness is not there, exhaling, letting go, surrendering, finding the comfort space, finding the place of calm. Okay? The other piece is if we are annoyed, if we are frustrated, be annoyed, feel the feeling and release it. Let it be like a cascade. If you've ever seen a cascade, a couple of years ago, I got very lucky to see a cascade for the first time, and it was just amazing in Puerto Rico. And just the water just rushing through. Just let it rush through the rocks. Let it bathe you. Let it be released from you. Not fight it.
That's what I found myself doing, fighting it and just trying to just keep going. And then afterwards, I'm like, why am I resisting? I acknowledged that I was resisting, so that's why I took everything off and just tried. And then when we came back, that sound of the leaf blower wasn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm. See, because it had served its purpose. So the universe is working with us always to assist us to grow and to learn. And in this case, the very wise Grace that is here said, well, Teresa today wants to work on finding peace. Well, let's teach her how to find peace. Distraction. Right?
No, they were like little bursts. It was the sound, then peace, sound, peace. So that's why I became frustrated because versus having just, peace the whole time. It was just like once I found the peace, the frustration came back again.
Exactly. So to notice that, like, oh, there was the frustration and the peace, the frustration and the peace. Keep choosing. I think you're being taught how to choose, that I have power in my choosing. If I resist it, I tense. If I resist it, look at what the hand actually just did. If I resist, I hold. Let it go. And keep choosing to let it go. Keep choosing to attend to something else. Bring the attention somewhere else. Gently and slowly, like that, it will continue to happen. Noticing the feeling that arises and releasing it. Knowing that you have the power. Play with that idea this week. If I have the power to change my attention, how would I interact with this thing, with this distraction? How can I soften? How can I ground my attention in the direction that I choose? Play with that this week. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome, honey. Thank you. Anybody else before we close? It is 2 minutes still, so again, we'll extend it just a little bit. Cece, hi.
Hi, Anna. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Nice to be here. I had the same experience as the two speaker before. It was the first minute or two was difficult to calm down the mind. But then once it calmed down, an open door showed to me, everything black, but the door, inside of the door, there was light. And that light pulled me in. And I didn't realize until now talking about it. It pulled me in, and from there, I went directly to a tiny little, it looks like an apartment at the beach. I was not at the beach, but it feels like Miami Beach. And I felt all the nice energy of the smell, the energy the beach brings to you, the peace. And for that moment, I'm very emotional because for that moment, I found in something so simple as a small, tiny little apartment with a little balcony, putting some flowers around, I found the complete peace in a simplicity of something that since we started COVID, I'm trying to find that peace. And it was very clear to me that I don't really need too much. I've been wanting to travel and do things because I feel caged. But it was that feeling of just being at the beach, not necessarily there at the beach, but in the environment where the energy is surrounding for the air and the light and the ocean. It just calmed me down. And I was completely in peace. If you didn't call me to come back, I would have stayed there, probably slept and wake up maybe 2 hours from now. It was fantastic. Thank you very much. And it's clear what I need to do now.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. I want to add a couple of things to your amazing experience. Thank you for sharing. I was at the beach with you as you were speaking. Earlier this morning, when I was walking outside in nature, I was being reminded to speak about that in class. And so I said to them, well, if at some point that needs to be brought up, then bring it up. So it's now. Thank you, Cece. There are many scientific studies that show how nature helps us to find peace or helps us to restore inner, mental, emotional, physical well-being. And so I really invite, if meditation is not a daily practice for you, walk in nature, at least once a week. If there's a park near you, if you have access to the beach, you have access to a lake, walk by nature. It has a natural restorative healing that it can do for you. So I would explore that, as Cece was so beautifully mentioning now. The other piece that you mentioned is now knowing what you need to do. And when we find that place of stillness, our truth comes through. Answers are allowed to arise. And it really is simple, as Cece mentioned. There is a simplicity to allowing ourselves to be divinely guided and supported by what is here. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I'd like to, before we close, go ahead, we might as well. We're already late, Miss Tori.
Okay.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi.
So I had the same thing as Terry. Is it Terry? I don't know if it's Terry, but it sounds like a vacuum cleaner or hair dryer or something. It was going up and down. It got louder and softer, but in between, I could hear the voices again.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, my fingers and toes was numb.
Mm-hmm. And so what did you do
I
with
still
that?
seen it. Well, I kept mine on and I let it go.
That's right.
I didn't try to take it out, but I just listened. And the more I listened, the more voices I started to hear again.
And what did you notice with them when you kept hearing the voices?
I can't hear you.
What did you notice
Okay.
when you were done with the experience? What stayed with you, or what did you learn?
As everyone was talking, and I can still hear things. It's no more the vacuum, but I can still hear different sounds as I'm sitting here.
Oh, how
So
interesting.
it's still going.
Okay, so this is what I would invite you to do. So when we go very deep into meditation, we can sometimes become aware of our senses become heightened, right? And so this is why in my teaching of intuition, meditation is very much key, because when we quiet everything, just as I said with the poem at the beginning, be quiet in your mind, quiet in your senses, and also quiet in your body. Then all of these quiet don't do anything. In that state, truth will reveal itself to you. Right. So why that is because we become aware of the heightened senses, right? So our hearing becomes more sharp, our sight will become more in depth, without even trying. It just kind of happens because we become aware of the stillness, we become aware of the quiet. And so what I would invite you to do, Tori, as homework, even now after the meditation, if it's at all possible for you, close the eyes and come back to the breath and stay with the sound, but this time touching the heart. Okay, so become aware of the heart, because as we touch the heart, we activate the heart. It's just an old shamanic practice that I learned. Touching the heart brings all our awareness into the heart, right? So being in the heart, closing the eyes and just breathing from that space and observing the sounds. Maybe do that for 5 to 10 minutes if your schedule allows, and then write what came up for you, okay? It might be that you actually can hear actual voices telling you something. And so I invite you to explore that. It could be your own intuition just wanting to bring your attention in that way. So we want to explore what that is. So it's too soon right now to determine what it is, but I would explore it. I will go a little deeper into it. And with that sense of curiosity, with that sense of, let me just kind of notice what is here without judgment, simply observing what shows up. Make sense?
But I have a headache now. But yes.
Okay, then no. Then just go back on it at a later time. I love that
Okay.
you just said that. Thank you for sharing. If something hurts, stop.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Use your beautiful common sense. And you're more than welcome to email me at a later time, Tori, if you have any other
Okay.
questions, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, sweetie. Thank you for showing up again. I
No problem.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
So thank you all for coming today. We only stayed 7 minutes past our time. And I invite you to have a beautiful rest of the week. And I invite you to, again, explore what we said at the very beginning of our session today. How can I soften? How can I find my grounding space? When you notice anxiety building or worry building or emotions drifting you away from the deep sense of calm that is accessible to you, return. Know that you have a choice. Know that at any point you can stop and just breathe. Remember who is in control, truly, the observer inside of you, the calm space within you that never leaves. And I particularly don't like that word control. It's more a sense of balance. There is a place within you that is always in balance, in equanimity. Explore that this week. I send you all my love and light. And I am truly grateful for you sharing this part of your Sunday with me. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a magical weekend.
Yes, magical. I love that. Katrina, you are so welcome to say that every time. Magical.
I will.
Have a beautiful day, you guys. Bye.
Thanks.
You
Bye,
too.
everybody.